Welcome to the Counteract YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us for this short video tutorial.
Okay, good afternoon everyone. I hope you can hear us okay. Yes, I'm told you can, so that's all good. Welcome to this webinar on, it's the second part of our price book webinar series that we're doing. It's Phil here, and Felicity, who's going to do most of the talking.
Hello.
And back by popular demand is Robin.
Hello.
So as usual, we're recording this probably about 40 minutes, and we'll pop it on the YouTube channel afterwards. So off we go.
Right, yes, so here we are, add amend product details. I'm not talking about regions today, so we'll just go into company prices. All that I'm going to say applies to regional prices as well. Up we come. What have I pressed? That's a good start, isn't it? There we are, yes, product search in the background. Here I have a product. In fact, this is the very first thing, because last time, the previous webinar, Price Book 1, covered everything to do with prices, collected, delivered, current, future. This time we're going to go through all these other tabs and the top here. So here we have the type of the product. Default is just normal. You can make a product a kit or a global. So I'm just going to do another search, and I'm going to search on a tool kit that we have on the system, a handyman toolkit. And as soon as you make a product a kit, a new tab opens up for components. And so when I click on components, I can see that I've added here a load of items which go together to make the toolkit. In this case we've got quantity of 1, but obviously that can change depending on what you've got in there. And you can tick this box to list components on the sale documents or not, so it's a hidden kit if the components are not listed. When I go back to the pricing screen, I can see that here it's got the values added up of the components. So the list price added up is that, and here we are, all these different prices added up. However, you can overwrite those. You can leave it so that it just defaults to those, or you can overwrite. And in this case, we've decided that a toolkit costs more than the sum of its parts. But there we go. Obviously presented nicely.
Oh, okay. So yeah, the all those retail prices added together is 210.94 for the individual components, but we're saying at 289.
That's
excellent.
Right. So, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So we've just got a nice big hefty margin there.
Good example. Yeah.
That's right. Another sort of reason for having a kit is things like bags of sand. We've got, it shows you that it's a kit here in the list, and if we just list that product and look at the components, that's a ton of building sand loose and the bags that the sand goes into. So this means that the kit product is not a stocked product as such. The kit product consists of 2 stocked products. So when you sell this kit, if you sell 2 of those, it actually affects the history of these 2 items here and the stock decreasing. On the kit.
So you sell the individual components, or you can sell the kit, and when you sell the kit, it takes the individual components from stock.
And we wouldn't be able to go into stock display and see this kit
as
an item.
It's only individuals.
You don't buy this kit, you buy the individual items.
Yeah.
You stock check the individual items.
Yeah. Okay.
And the other type of product that you can have is a global product, and we have some Dulux gloss. I think 2.5 litre, for instance. We've got white and we've got colour, and it's already sitting in the same tab as the component tab. So here's my global, and the new tab that opens up is variants, And so the variants can be, whoops, when I go into the field for the variants, it's got a description, it's got a code that can be up to 4 digits. Oh no, 3, sorry. 3, oh no, it's purely that I'm not in update mode. So if I just add a new one, you can call it 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can also call it, you know, a name. So it could be blue if you wanted. Just however you like it, and then that code is just added on to the end of the price book description when you're looking at it. And discard that change. In here as well, it shows that you can have separate barcodes and separate quick codes for the variants, and you can also withdraw individual variants, so you may still have some stock. So with variants, it's the individual variants that are stocked and ordered, but the idea is that you've got a whole load of different products which have in common price.
Right.
So
Okay.
the price is identical across all those different colours, so rather than having to maintain 10 different products which are all called, have a main choice there, and then when you actually search in, if you're in stock control, for instance, and you go and search for that product, it actually suddenly there's a lot more than just the black and white one and the colour. It's now showing me red, blue, green and yellow, showing me it's a global and showing me the individual stock figures for all those. So it just tacks the description that you've given it onto the end. And if I actually choose one of these, here's how it's added the dash 003 on the end.
Right.
But that could actually be dash GRE if you wanted something like that. There we go. So back to my product details screen. I will just go back to my cement product, simple product here, to go on through. Obviously, with every product you've got 2 lines of 48 characters. And if I move into this main screen, here we have the very top thing is aggregate groups. This is all about if you have a range of products that you want to give a discount off. If somebody buys 10 of one, 10 of another and 10 of a third one, and you want to give them a discount because they bought 30 of any of them, you can set up aggregate terms. There's a bit of, you need to know how to do that and how it works and play with it a bit on your test system. And if you are interested in aggregate terms, it's probably best to speak to us about it. We've only got one set up on here, which is for bricks. So that's not really very relevant at the moment, but I'm not going to go into that now. Categories are just an additional way of defining your products. They originally came from, not so many companies have categories these days.
But you can give terms against categories as well as groups, can't you?
You can give customer terms against categories, exactly. So if your groups, product groups, and your product groups aren't really working for your terms, then you could start using categories.
Because you could say to somebody, we'll give you trade B on Dulux, but you'll give you A-5 on paint as a category, which we've got there. So you can give different. It's a different way of grouping, isn't it? Essentially.
Yeah, exactly. It is a different way of grouping, but again, it's yet another level that you have to be aware of when you're maintaining your products. As is, whilst we're mentioning that, as is the analysis code here. This is another level which we really dissuade people from using, but it's a secondary level of analysis. If you have realised or you want to sort of measure your products by a different type of analysis to the one they've got. So if this, I don't want it to be HC01, I want it to be, VX45, then I can put that in there, and that's where any sales analysis is picked up from for sales analysis. It gives you can actually do analysis by both that code and you can do it by product code. But again, it just adds another level of complexity that might confuse in many ways, unless you're absolutely certain that that is truly going to help you steer well clear of that. Manufacturer is a way of identifying products as coming as a sort of make, really. I always think of it like it's a make. So we've got some tool ones in there. You could have what am I trying to think of? Russell Hobbs,
Or kettles.
for instance, for kettle.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah, well, and because a Russell Hobbs kettle is a Russell Hobbs kettle, and you can buy it from 10, 20 different suppliers. But if you ever want to analyse how many Russell Hobbs products you sell, then you can put them as a Russell Hobbs product, and that can be used in analysis. It has to be set up. You can't just, if you start to use manufacturer, you do need to ask us to include it in your analysis if you're not using it already.
But and again, a lot of the
point
choices about products, you can choose manufacturers. One of the options to look at products, isn't it? If it's there, you can look at it in terms of changing pricing and things. Manufacturers one of the options.
In price book,
Yeah.
on the price book side, manufacturer. On the stock side, it's always the supplier.
The supplier, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right. And the alias is a way of just adding some words in that will be included in the word search. So I think it might be useful when you sell something that is an alternative to, so the builder comes in and asks for a brand name, and you actually sell something that's exactly the same but wouldn't have that sort of key brand name in it. So you can put the brand name in there and you'll get that as well. And people will be able to see those. So that is quite useful, I think. Generic description is the one that's all about having on quotations and quick quotes, I think. It can be set to be used. So if you've got your product code description is a very complex and detailed description of a bath, for instance. You can have a generic description of, big bath, and that's all the customer would see on their quote, and they couldn't go and cherry pick from the internet in quite the same way. Detailed description, as it says when I hover on there, is just purely used in quotations. If you do use those, it'll appear on a quotation and it will copy through to a sale, but it will never be picked up in a sale. Here's the flag to set a product to be withdrawn, and when you do that, it will automatically set products in the stock side to be discontinued, to have an order rule of dis, because it's assuming you don't want to order them anymore. Here's the VAT, so if you've got sort of products which pick up only VAT 5% or 0, then you can change the VAT rate there. Use, the default is always X stock and direct, but you can specify that a product's only going to be used in a direct order or only on a stock order, which allows you to have different pricing structures for products with stock and direct. And you just literally, if you had an X stock one, you wouldn't see it if you were in a direct, and vice versa. Web and in-house, the default for a new product is in-house only. But if you start using the system for sending products onto a website, then you can specify whether a product is a web-only product or web and in-house, and you can choose by that in various places. And this new little field is the future, really. I think it's not in use at the moment, to my knowledge, but allows you to tick as being available for click and collect, which again is going to be going up to a website, I think, in B2B phase 2.
Yeah, for business-to-business web trading. So we'll be talking about that at the user meetings in February. So that'll be worth coming up and see.
Segment discount, I think, is possibly really redundant. but it allows you to put a settlement discount on a product, which I don't think applies to anyone wanting to do that across the board. Price locked is a useful one if you have got any prices where you really don't want anyone negotiating on them, then you can tick that box, and then by salesman you can actually allow some people to be able to alter the price, and then another authorization is they can alter the price lock price, but only to be something that's in one of these already. So they'd be able to say trade D, C, B,
Right.
but they wouldn't be able to go below the lowest price
Right.
on the price locked product. So that's everything there. Oh no, it isn't. No, I've forgotten timber certification. This is relatively new. Allows you to specify a product as FSC or PEFC, and again, you can have that linking in automatically to the product, the item level sales analysis. So if you do want to use that, you need to let Border know and make sure that we set that up for you so you can do the sales analysis from it. Detail. Here we have all sorts of things like a weight, which is a kilo weight. The weight is actually used on printing tickets out if you have it switched on, and is used on the stock control side. There's weight, carriage free weight, I believe. Height is literally just a factual piece of information. It doesn't do anything anywhere, but it's just that if you want to go and look to see what the height is, if you know that you've got them stored there, you can go and have a look. Biff pack is the Biff pack waste packaging system, so you can, if you subscribe to that, then you find out what the codes are for your product. So you put the codes on there, and then the reporting associated with that will work for you. Alternatively, if you're not subscribing, the other waste packaging system that we've got is the ability to record in grams all these types of waste, and then you can also run a report to find out what your packaging waste has been over a period. Reject decimal places is ticked in this instance because you really wouldn't want to be selling half a bag of cement to anyone intentionally. So you just tick that if you just don't want someone to inadvertently put 1.25 bags of cement. And here we're saying quantity type, it defaults actually to no restriction, but here we've said quantity only, so you wouldn't be able to.
So that's the same thing, isn't it? Really? Is that the same thing?
Well, it means you can't put a T in, you can't put an S in, so you can't put. So the alternatives tally allowed. You can put the T in for tally products, where you've got the item is per meter, and you can build up the lengths of timber that you're selling, and sheet is for square meters, and volume per meter cubed for timber. So the default is no restriction. Pricing method is where we covered it in the last thing, where you can have volume for products such as hardwood, and you can have area for sheets. And here again is this will always be metric because imperial just isn't legal, I don't think. Here, these two are all about shelf labels, and you can choose a standard unit, and so you could say kilo, and you can put a conversion factor in, and the conversion factor to the standard pricing unit. So, I mean, I suppose it's things like you see on the supermarket shelf where it says the price per litre or per 100 grams or whatever. That's exactly what you can achieve.
So
on
would
your
you say
label.
you had that product's 25 kilograms bag of cement? The standard unit is a kilo. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I chose a wrong. Yeah, I'm afraid I don't know enough about it to be able to talk. With the paint, you would say, the 2.5 litre paint.
Yeah.
I think you'd say that the standard unit was litre.
Right.
And you'd say how many. You'd have to put some point decimal, which I can't work out on the top of my head, of how many, what the relationship. Point.
Yeah. Okay.
0.25 or something.
0.25. If you need to do that, ring support and we'll find somebody who knows it.
so clever, isn't it? Codes. Here we are. Here's where you can have barcodes for products. So you can have up to 10 barcodes for a product, but they obviously need to be unique. But it's basically allowing for the fact that some suppliers would put a different barcode on a product. And ditto quick codes. I can't, if you've got people who disagree what a quick code should be, then you can have more than one. However, it's only products that you sell really frequently that you would want a quick code on that you can use for searching. And normally people would agree one quick code because they do have to be unique across the whole price book. So you can't put, if I tried to put C25 onto another product,
it wouldn't have it.
It already exists.
Yeah, okay.
Down here is a bit that is purely to do with links to websites, and this is customized and actually set up specifically for our system here, and would be set up as you...
Yeah, for your particular web.
Yeah, web requirements. And here we've decided we want to know whether it's a national or a local delivery. We've got different web attributes, what sort
sets,
of product
what sets of attributes. Yeah.
So it's a powder product, so that is how it prices it or shows it.
Yeah.
The choices you can make properly on the web. And here's the delivery rates. What's the rate for delivering this? But that is, when you have a website, that is all discussed.
Yes, yeah.
And is irrelevant if you aren't sending information through to a website. Notepads. Here the system is recording notepads, but obviously not a lot on this product, on our test system, demo system. But you can add a notepad which will be stored forever to do with the product. And I presume, as in, as in other notepads throughout the system, you could put a notepad on there with a reminder to remind yourself and get it sent to yourself a message about that product if you wished. I think Notepad is definitely something that you can't see on the character side or use for product.
Right.
I don't think. I'm pretty certain. Alternatives are alternative products. So here we've got something added, and so you literally can just search for a product and add it as an alternative. And then when you're doing a sale, it will tell the salesman what the alternative might be. Just if you do decide to do that, just think about how it actually looks in the sales screen, in case it's on too many products and gets a bit annoying. Because I think it gives the alternative whether there's stock or not of the original. Ideas are that you can have the system giving sales ideas. You can literally just have a narrative, so you can say sales idea and a narrative, so you can just give an idea for somebody. Alternatively, you can have no narrative, or you can have narrative plus individual products that they might be wanting to purchase when this product is being bought. In addition to sales ideas, on this little drop down you've got processes, and processes are for mainly timber products.
Timber, yeah.
Where you might do the processing yourself, and so you have a meter of timber, and you associate with it, I don't know, in treatment.
Tannalized or ripped and things like that, and you can price it again. You can price it based on the type of. You can price it by cubic meter or square meter. The process.
Well, it's an each, so it is literally you add the product. So the process is set up as a product.
Yeah.
That is the price of a meter or whatever unit your product is.
Yeah.
So if you buy 10 meters of timber, and it will add 10, 20p's or whatever for your process, and it adds them in, and it adds a comprising. So in fact, it creates a little sort of what we call a process kit. But on the system, it says, here's my timber, including such and such, and a price for it. And some people use that quite successfully. And if you need to know more about it, it's probably worth asking us. Notes. Notes is where you can put comments that appear both on the screen and on the document, and memos that appear just on the screen. And you can have default and standard ones if you want. Your standard memos that you might have that's really not relevant to these products. And that is also worth remembering that is something you can populate with a group amendment.
Yeah. So you can do standard comments and memos in a sale, but you can also have standard comments and memos against individual products as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. And here is where you put it.
Yeah.
So there we are. That's all the individual product stuff. I don't want to save any of that. So back to the price book screen, Blackbook. Something else that we have is loading and updating product details.
So we're just going to talk about maintaining products now, aren't we?
Maintaining. I'm going to mention the spreadsheets which you can use to load new products, update existing products. The most important thing about this is to read this help before you start any of this, because it gives you all sorts of hints and tips and information, and it also gives you what the column headings are and what each column refers to, and in terms of whether you're updating or loading. We do have an enormous amount of columns now, but if you want to update some products just with memos, for instance, you can just have a product code together with memo 1, memo 2, whatever you wish there, or if you're wanting to lock a range of products, just have that price locked. And the important thing is that you have exactly this word in the heading.
So you could have the spreadsheet that had the product code, wasn't it? Or whatever the word is that we call it, the first one.
Yeah.
What was it? Product code. So that that header has to have product code in it.
It can.
Would it match on anything else?
By quick barcode.
By barcode.
Yeah.
And then you could just have comment, memo, whatever, line 1, 2, 3, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You don't have to do all those fields.
And the other thing for updating is, of course, you can also have the supplier account number in the supplier account number column and a supplier catalogue number in the catalogue column, and that's useful if you've got a spreadsheet from your supplier, and you then can update the prices, because that's the information that they're going to give you, isn't it? So that's all fairly useful. If you want to extract some products to be updated, it's in this option here, you've actually got an option for updating products. So if I just choose a product, just select these for a minute, and OK, and cancel, and OK, and it just puts it into a spreadsheet with every single column. And so you can do that. That's one way of getting your list of products you want to update and having every column that you can remove the ones you don't want. Worth remembering that somewhere along here there's prices. You've got all these different prices, And even if these prices on the system had been extracted, are held as list less, retail less, whatever, R minus, it will put the net value here, and it will only load in the net value as well. However, I'm going to show you ways of using the group amend product details to put terms pricing across ranges of products, if you wish, or lists of products. This is group amend product details on the price book, and you've got two ways of changing things. You've got of changing groups, really, apart from adding and amending variants. Means that if you've got a load of products that are all red, blue, green, you can just add those variants all at once. But globally, by example, when I click that, this opens up all these other things. So you can go into product information and specified changes, and there's all the fields you can see and the different tabs. And this is quite useful for clearing values out. So if you've got a whole load of products and the aliases are rubbish, you could sit on alias and clear, and it asks you which field you want to clear out. The rest of it's all fairly straightforward there. You've got the ability here to change future prices. For instance, you may want to say, right, okay, I know that I've already got a retail, I've got this range of products I've loaded into the system, and or even you've loaded them in and you've got a cost price and it's a net price, but you want your retail and your trade A to be related to the cost price. So here you can say I want all these products to be K plus 55 for retail, and then I want them to be R minus 10 for trade A. And you can put a start date because I'm in future prices, and through it will go. And you can also use this screen to start a promotional. So that's a very good way of putting in the terms against products. So you've loaded a net price, because you can only load net prices from spreadsheets. But if you want to have these relating to the cost of the list, you can put those in there. And the other way, you can also do these other things I was talking about. The other method of change, price manipulation, is an interesting one, where now I click on here and say specified changes, and woo, I've got all my list costs, trade A to E there, and I've got my future, current. Say I clicked on future, I can put a start date in, and I can say, right, okay, I'm going to be looking at cost. And I can change the price across a whole range of products by a percentage, an amount, replace a price. When I do replace a price, I could just put something in. Maybe replace price, and cost. You're not going to be replacing the price rule. You can remove percentages, replace percentages, do all these different things, apply them. But for instance, maybe you want to, it's another way of putting the terms across. So if I wanted my trade Bs to be replace the price rule, and I want all my trade Bs to be A minus 5, then I can press return, and up here at the moment it's just not telling me anything very useful. When I click on apply, I can check that it's got what I wanted it to be. I say OK, and now it's telling me that, and I can go through and do different things. Just a different way of doing the prices. And then I can click that and do it. And finally in here, the product selection, you can actually import lists of products, i.e. you don't have to choose by range or page or manufacturer, which we mentioned previously. You could change by manufacturer. You don't have to choose by that. If you just choose one product randomly, and as soon as you've chosen a product in list of products, this opens up, edit list of products. You can delete easily that one product, and then you can use import, and the import is going to be from just literally a CSV file with one column with product codes in it. And so you can have a completely random sort of load of products if you wish and put them into a list. That is available in all sorts of places, the lists of products in the system. Oops. Yeah, and this is the place where you've got some of these web choices. So that is pretty powerful, can be, for certain things if you want to do them. And I think sometimes it's more, it's kind of safer than using a spreadsheet sometimes, because a spreadsheet can be absolutely enormous and unwieldy and can possibly sometimes get out of alignment.
Yeah.
Finally, what was I going to talk about? There's group amend product stock details, which again you've got globally by example and all sorts of changes. Associated suppliers, quite useful in here, adding, changing, all the same choices.
So I mean, there's a lot in price booking counteract, isn't there, Steve? Is there one more thing you wanted to show?
There was one more thing I wanted to show. I'm not sure that we're ever going to.
Okay.
No, I think we are going to have to.
I think that was it.
We're going to have to live with that.
But I mean, just saying, price book is a huge area of the system, and it's pages, price book pages. That was the other thing we were talking about. Yeah, we'll get there in the end.
Add amend price book pages. Pages, once upon a time, were the absolute key thing in the price book. Very few, we didn't, I don't think, to begin with, the system even had point of sale selling, and even if we did have point of sale, not many people used it, and so products would all have to be on price book pages, and you would arrange your products on the pages as you would want them to print out, and so you could queue. I've got a page here, DC04, and in fact it's, as on most systems, all the products on here begin with DC04, because they're all a group of products that go very nicely together. But you can have products arranged in any format on a page. You can use it to add comments, headings, page throws. You see, this is all making it look like a proper printed out price book, which is probably not so useful these days. By default, products, if you copy a product, it will go onto the same page as the product you're copying from, inserting on. If you're loading products from a spreadsheet, then it goes onto the page that matches the first 4 characters of the product code.
But it's just another method of grouping products together, isn't it?
It is,
and it doesn't have
a way of searching.
Yeah, and it's a very, it's a quite a useful way of. It doesn't have to be all the same products from the same group on a page. However you choose, isn't it? You can use it.
Yeah.
I use it. It's
I think
useful.
yes. I mean, I remember
useful,
that somebody once would have a page with, for guttering, I think it was, would have a page of all the black guttering, all the terracotta or whatever, different guttering products, which naturally would just go, or even be globals.
Yes.
But you could sort of split them out, and they could, people selling the products could just say, right, okay, I'm only looking for black ones.
And off they go.
And just enter the page number, and off they go. There we go. That's it.
Anyway, so thank you very much. So that was second part of price book. Just quickly to say, let's just put this up. Not welcome. So the next webinar is stock checking, not stock control. Actually, it's actually stock checking. We thought stock control was a little bit of a wide subject for one webinar, so there's going to be stock control, but it is still going to be on Wednesday, 12th of December at 3 p.m. And then the other bit I'd just say is, don't forget about user meetings. 12th, 13th, and 14th of February, we will be sending out agendas and invites quite soon, I should think. So keep a lookout for those. As I say, thanks very much for your attention. We'll put this on the YouTube channel as we usually do. And any questions, just email support. We'll come back to you as quickly as we can.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Goodbye.
Thank you for watching this short tutorial. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us on the information displayed on the screen for further assistance.